Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Knapp.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
And it is Hump Day. Good morning, I'm Rayford Brown. And welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live and Local Real Talk. And we got lots of live and local and real talk. And we're going to go international first because actually we're going to go, yeah, it is kind of international. Hawaii, though not a state, but it was a possession 81 years ago on this date. And a place where we had a naval base and it was attacked at 8 o'clock Hawaii time, which was midday Eastern time. Japanese airplane, a single Japanese plane. They saw it first come through with the star on the wings at 7:02 a.m. And well, that was the first spotting. That was two radar operators spotted large groups of aircraft in flight toward the island from the north, but nobody paid any attention to this brand new fangled radar stuff. They just wrote it off as maybe birds or something else. They had 1 hour notice. We had an hour notice on this date in 1941, and we blew it. We found out the hard way 1 hour later when the Japanese bombers came in. Hundreds of them came in, killing, sinking a number of ships and disabling a number of others, all stacked up there together at Pearl. What a tragic day, a day that will live in infamy forever.
Yes, indeed.
So I think they have a few survivors from Pearl still left. One, the youngest one's 98 years old, I just heard. Man, amazing, amazing. Just amazing. How much have we learned from the days of Pearl Harbor? We obviously didn't learn a thing because it happened again in 2001, almost 60 years to the day after Pearl Harbor. Have we learned anything since then? Or are we ready for another attack?
Well, you know my opinion on it. We've talked about it quite a bit, about the military and the problems with the military right now, the issues.
Yeah.
Well, that all starts at the top. If we don't lead from the top, if we're not, I mean, just look at the little sneak attacks that are happening every day across the southern border, the number of individuals coming in here. You know, I wonder what would happen as it did during World War II. Imagine this for just a moment. You know what happened after the sneak attack, right? We rounded up Japanese Americans, people who were living in this country. We put them in camps, right?
Yes.
Shouldn't have done that. They were loyal Americans. Mm-hmm. But we did it anyway, out of desperation, out of fear.
Out of fear, yeah.
What would happen if for instance, if Mexico decided to pull a sneak attack on the United States, or Nicaragua, or Colombia, or Venezuela, with all of the individuals that they have already slipped into this country? Do you think we would start rounding people up then and curtailing them, or putting them away? Or is it still the time of wokeness and that will be with us now forever?
That's one
until
word
the
I
end
wish
of
would
the days
just
on Earth.
die. Woke. I wish that word would die.
I didn't even know what. Rhino. I still don't exactly know what it means. I can't get anybody to explain it to me.
It's when you get up in the morning.
Yeah, well, that's what it's supposed to be. I woke up this morning. Good.
I'm woke.
If I didn't woke up this morning, I would be dead.
Rayford, we have a caller. Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Good morning, Rayford and Lee and Kelly.
Hi.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, thanks. So, Rayford, good points on this solemn date, 1941. 3,500 Americans lost their lives or were wounded in that attack. The only thing you mentioned, what did we learn? Well, we paid them back, and those people that, I believe he said 2001, they got theirs back too. So people better learn not to mess with the great USA.
Amen.
Well, payback is a wonderful thing, to be honest with you, on a personal level. But what is that going to do for the next time? Have we, this country, learned? We had, so many people do not know this. But FBI agents in Minneapolis and a field office in Minneapolis, they had intel. They gathered intel quite some time before 9/11. Are you aware of that? They tried to, well, they did turn it over to their boss and wanted to forward it up the chain of command to D.C. And their boss said, nah, there's nothing to it. Are you aware of that?
Not honestly, Rayford,
Okay.
which is, I'm always honest. So no, I did not know that, but thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
You know,
Two guys, two field agents, two brick agents, as they call them. They walk the brick. They walk the beat. They know what's going on. And they were given intel that proved to be accurate. And we did nothing.
well, I hope we learned from that. I hope we learned from the Moore County incident. We are vulnerable to forces outside our United States and inside our United States. And I just, Judgment Day will come to them. And I feel sorry for those people because they used to be clients of mine. Some still are. And all they do is call and say, you want to talk business when they don't have power. Just
Right.
pray for them that they stay warm,
Absolutely. I'm glad we don't have a severe winter issue right now. Good news
No.
is out there in Moore County. I saw the Duke guy on this morning, early morning, and he had a statement from last night. They're one day ahead. Back by tomorrow at some time. They thought it's been restored already. Most of the rest of it will be done before midnight tonight. That's good.
Awesome.
That's great. And looking at it last night, Marie, as you mentioned on the news, I fully understand that it affects everybody's homes, heat, cooking, just the essentials that we all take for granted. But also think about the police now that have to go 24/7, which they do anyway, but directing traffic, no traffic lights.
Yep.
Can you imagine that at nighttime? People doing speed limits they probably shouldn't do.
Yeah, they do have a curfew in place, so that is a good thing, which it needs to be. That's one time that I totally agree with curfews, and that's for our safety, not to curtail activity, but that's for our safety. Where are they going to go anyway? So,
well, unfortunately, the bad people are going to go and try to loot stores and stuff. But fortunately, we have great law enforcement in North Carolina, and beware you those that want to take advantage of a bad situation. You're going to get caught one way or the other. Just remember that. And these people will get caught.
The way I look at it,
they will get caught.
From a law enforcement standpoint, the people who are out on the streets have absolutely no business from being there. So therefore, they have just put a sign around their neck. I'm suspicious, and you get a right to stop them.
Yeah, just the one downfall I think of cell phones. Everybody, you watch TV, and I know there are programs that the incidents here are not real. They reflect nothing, but they do. And you see these police officers chasing down people, and the first thing they do, everybody pulls out their cell phones and starts recording.
Of course.
One of the things right now with the cell phones in Moore County, those cell towers don't work without power.
No.
For a short period of time. They got batteries and backup generators, but generators run out of gas and the batteries run out of juice.
Well, I remember the many years that I managed a cable company in hurricanes. We had generators at all the power supplies, and we would have guys go around, fill them up with gas to keep them going. But this is something totally different. It was uncalled for, and I hope they catch them and prosecute them as hard as they can.
With 40,000 residents without power and a whole lot of people who are PO'd royally, you can rest assured somebody knows something and somebody going to talk about it.
Well,
yeah, and there's the.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Lee.
I just found
ladies first.
Thank you, Chris. I found a story. Well, I mentioned a story earlier to Rayford and Kelly, but I actually looked it up and found it. And this I didn't know. On Friday, November 11th, a property owned by the Carteret Craven Electric Corporation in Jones County, the town of Maysville, was damaged. And they said more than 12,000 customers were without power for approximately 2 hours. And the
What kind of damage? How was it damaged?
They said right here that it had been vandalized and the cost was over $500,000. Investigators are still looking at it, but they said that the transformers had been damaged, causing them to leak. The coils leak.
You would assume that it's going to be gunfire, but that's only an assumption right now.
That said the vandals damaged transformers, causing them to leak oil. And they said they still haven't got that up, but they were able to reroute those customers through another area there to get them electricity. So it looks like Moore County wasn't the first.
Yeah.
No, the one makes you wonder, and I won't keep you, but I wonder if survivalists did it because now they have no power or they know how to live without it. I'm not just throwing that out there. I mean,
Well,
if you need power, are you going
to? It could be from another county. Who
Oh.
knows?
who knows? But the down trickle effect, the other companies it affects. Phone companies for those that still have the old phones, cable companies, people who have medical equipment that rely on these electricity.
You betcha.
It's so sad. Just one last note, and Lee, you mentioned it the other day when I called you, and I appreciate it. You're going to try and get Trevor on about the newspapers.
Rayford's talking to him. Yes.
Okay, good. Thanks, Rayford.
I had a chat with him yesterday, and we will be coming to. He'll be on the air with us soon, and we're going to set up hopefully a partnership.
Well, that'd be great. One thing I've noticed the last 2 days of the new regime that's taken over, it has one or two local things in it, but I've noticed that all the advertisers are out of Burlington and Lexington.
Mm.
They got good deals, don't get me wrong, meats and stuff like that, but I hope they realize that.
One small step at a time. First of all, get some local news coverage, and then you can sell the local paper. That's going to be number one.
Rayford, I know between the radio and the marina, you don't have much time, but they're looking for reporters again, and I know you did it.
You never know if they want
Just a thought, my friend.
An article or two from time to time. We're working on that.
Well, bless. Have y'all have a blessed day and
hey,
a
thank
blessed
you.
holiday.
Chris. My best to Kathy.
Thank you, dear. Take care.
All right.
Yeah, we appreciate your call.
Hey, Rayford, just one thing that I read in this article about the attack on the station in Maysville. They said, much like the attack in Moore County, the attacks occurred close to military installations in the state. Maysville sits 33 miles from Camp Lejeune, 41 miles from Cherry Point, and Moore County and Fort Bragg just sits off to the west of it, 33 miles.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Interesting fact.
Interesting. I don't know whether it's going to be related or not. The Camp Lejeune and Cherry Point and the other places sort of have their own little systems going where they pick up power and they have their own substations internally. I don't know how much damage could be done external to those locations to cause a problem for the installations. I don't know.
I want to let everybody know, if you haven't gone outside yet, we're under a dense warning this morning.
Very
So
dense.
Drive carefully when you're going to work because it is super foggy outside.
Yeah, I saw weather from Charlotte as well this morning. They got dense fog advisory there. It clears off a little bit towards the central part of the state, then along the coast. Here we go again.
Well, you wouldn't know it by
slow
the
your
traffic.
butts down, leaving a little bit early.
You wouldn't know by the traffic this morning on Gum Branch and Belfork. Heathens.
Yeah, craziness.
It was like being at the racetrack.
Yeah.
And one car I saw, he had very dim headlights, no tail lights. You come up on him, you're like, whoa, where did he come from? Crazy.
And that fog's going to be around till about 9 o'clock. So those driving to work need to take a little extra precautions. And remember, kids are going to bus stops and stuff too.
Pay attention to that. Slow down. Those buses are going to be stopping in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And sometimes dense fog advisories, it's really tough to see those lights, even though they got lots of lights. You will come upon them suddenly. And if you're running the normal breakneck speeds of whatever the posted speed limit is, +5, you are not going to be in control.
Agreed.
Slow down, be 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late getting to work, explain it to your boss. And if your boss has a problem with that, you call us tomorrow morning.
Yeah, call us.
Yeah. Agreed. Have you? I don't even know if I even want to bring this up, but I feel so aggravated. I'm just sitting here reading it. And I'm aggravated as heck.
Uh-oh.
I don't like Kanye West, and his latest crap. I'm just curious to see how many people are going to defend him with this statement saying that Jewish people should forgive Hitler.
What?
I don't even.
What?
It came out yesterday. I am so.
Listen, I'm not Jewish. I ain't
I'm not
never going to
Jewish. Yeah.
forgive that low life piece
Same.
of crap. You
Yeah.
understand?
Tell
Yeah.
it like
I
you feel it.
This thing here is. It's the second time in a week he's defended Hitler. I just do not know.
Hitler's in a special place,
Yes.
and I'm sure it's very warm, and there's no air conditioning.
According to him, Hitler seemed like a cool guy.
Yeah, well, good for you, Kanye. Goodbye.
Kanye West is an idiot.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
maybe he'll run for president
He
again.
says he is, according to this.
Yes.
And he would even like.
He could get Herschel as his VP.
No, he wants Candace. What's her name? Is it Adams?
Owens.
Owens, yeah, to be his
bless him.
VP. Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
I don't know who would not distance himself from him in a heartbeat.
This country.
Well, according to this article I'm reading as well, Trump entertained him and that other idiot white supremacist guy, Fuentes, at that dinner.
Yes.
And apparently, Trump has lost quite a bit of supporters because of that particular dinner.
Well, hello.
No
Yes.
kidding.
I mean, how dumb.
Well, back to the birds of a
Yeah.
feather thing. They all flock
Mhm.
together. So
Yes.
anyway.
Yes.
Yes,
Hey,
I've seen
you
that.
hear down over there in Surf City?
Yeah, I heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Heard what
Yeah,
happened.
the mayor.
Yeah. He resigned.
He quit yesterday. He
Mhm.
said focus on his family and his health.
Mhm.
So Doug Medlin, been around for a long time, been in public
Yes.
office there, I think first as a council member back in 1988. Wow.
Yeah, he was elected mayor in 2019, and that's a 4-year
Mhm.
term. So
Mhm.
that'll be coming up
Yeah.
this coming
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's not his
Mhm.
first stint as mayor. So he's been
Right.
in and out,
Yeah.
off and on,
has.
yada, yada, yada. But, I think they sometimes just switch it around for a
Let's
while.
look.
I don't know why I
I don't
didn't think. I thought there was a different mayor, but I know who I'm thinking of. But I didn't realize this guy was the current mayor. I don't know how I missed
Well,
that.
he
but
is.
I did.
Well, he isn't
Yeah.
anymore. He
Yeah,
was until
yeah.
he resigned yesterday. Let's see.
Was it Teresa Batts? Is the mayor now?
Yeah. Yeah. She
I think she was
she-
elevated or whatever that. Whatever.
she
yeah.
she took.
Yeah.
I guess it was a unanimous decision
Mhm.
by the other members
Yeah,
of
to
the
make her-
council.
yeah.
I guess they
How does
operate.
that work? Is she
I
just
don't know
an
how they
interim
work
mayor
there.
and then they have an election? Like, how does that work?
I
don't
guess she's
know.
just appointed to fill the unexpired term of.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
In all likelihood,
Right,
because
because it's-
a lot of situations, towns and
Yeah.
counties differ in the way they fill
Oh,
vacancies.
okay.
Right.
Okay.
So-
that makes sense.
And
Yeah.
it's municipal, so.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Oh, here he is right
Yep.
here. I'm checking
Yeah.
out his affiliation.
Okay. He's
All right.
Republican, isn't he?
I'm checking. He is a Democrat.
Oh, he's a Democrat.
Yep.
Okay.
I thought most of them. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yep.
Interesting. All right, Rayford, lead us to a break.
You're live in local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WDSME. The foggy weather report when we come back. You know, we talked about the fog
Yeah,
just a minute
yeah.
ago, and I'm looking out here in my backyard. Nothing in the immediate backyard with fog, but in the little wooded area behind my house, and there's a little creek that runs back there. The fog has begun to settle in back there. Kind of interesting. And two squirrels running around in the backyard, chasing each other. My, what a place to be early in the morning. You know, one of the things that wears out on a boat probably a lot faster than the outboard motors or any parts of the boat are your electronics. Electronics, you know, they have a built-in life expectancy, mainly because they're in a very, very vulnerable location, and it's hazardous out there for electronics. Radios, GPSs, fish finders, all of that sort of good stuff. It doesn't last forever. And from time to time, you need to think about replacing it. You like your boat, it's doing great. Your motor is doing just fine. Make sure you get it serviced, of course, this time of year and before next spring. You take care of all of you need to do it things, but take a look at your radios. Take a look at your electronics, all of it. Tideline Marine in Jacksonville, they can help you set up if they don't have it in stock exactly what you're looking for. They can help you with some recommendations, and they'll have it in just a couple days. They can also install it if you don't want to. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville.
And today, winds are out of the west, 5 to 10 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet, dominant period 7 seconds, adjacent sounds and rivers with a light chop, patchy fog early this morning with patchy fog late this morning. Tonight, southwest winds 5 to 10 knots becoming west 10 to 15 knots after midnight. Seas 3 to 5 feet except for 2 to 3 feet near shore. Dominant period 7 seconds. Adjacent sounds and rivers with a light chop. Increasing to a moderate chop after midnight. Thursday, north winds 10 to 15 knots becoming northeast 15 to 20 knots with gust up to 25 knots in the afternoon. Seas 4 to 6 feet except 2 to 3 feet near the shore. And Friday, northeast winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet except for 2 to 4 feet near the shore.
Today, partly sunny, high of 74. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 61. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, of high of 68, and it will be patchy fog in the morning. And then tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, low of 49. And on Friday, cloudy, high of 56. And looks like Friday afternoon actually, will be rain, but it will be gone by Saturday. So just rain
Looks like
Friday,
it's 56 for
Yeah.
the most part in my
Yeah.
backyard and
Yeah.
out towards the air station and
Yeah.
the surrounding areas.
It's
So it's
like
looking nice,
60
and you say
here.
it's going to be 56. The high is going to be the
Yes,
next
for
couple of days going to be
Friday.
56.
Yeah. Tomorrow was going to be 68. But
Yeah.
then on Friday, 56,
Yeah.
Saturday 57, and Sunday 59.
We can
But
deal with that. Not
yeah,
a
Saturday
problem.
and Sunday will be sunny.
It's
It's
coming on
nice.
wintertime. So
Yes.
if we
Yeah.
can maintain weather like that, I'll be a perfectly happy camper.
Agreed. Right.
We talked a little bit about Georgia,
Mhm.
the Senate seat there. That little battle is over.
Mhm.
Democrat Raphael Warnock in a runoff election. He came out on top yesterday against Republican challenger Herschel Walker. You know, like Walker, don't like Walker. I mean, he was a pretty good ball player. I don't know how good a senator he would make.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. Any
Right.
American can serve. And
Correct.
That's right.
they should have the ability and the legality to be able to do just that.
Mhm.
Of course, when you're in vulnerable positions like Herschel, you've got all sorts of people gunning for you. And Warnock took advantage of any rumors and whatever else that he had heard about, read in the tabloids over the decades. So, you know, he was able to besmirch Mr. Walker to a certain extent.
Mhm.
The win was huge for Democrats.
Yeah.
They now will control the Senate with a 51 vote majority.
Yeah.
Warnock's campaign, with huge contributions from the national, won.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big time. Yeah.
The election results were did not indicate that he's outspinning 2-1. They were much closer.
Mhm.
51 to about 49%, less than 51% to a little bit, 49% of the voters supported Warnock. Warnock's post-election comment, here's something that gets me every time now. And I've said it before. Here's what he said after the election last night. The people have spoken. I've noted for any number of election cycles when talking with winners, I've talked with a lot of winners
Mhm.
post-election as a reporter, as a whatever over the years. I've said, you know, how about all those people who did not vote for you?
Yeah. True.
Almost as
Yeah.
many people did not vote for Warnock as voted for Warnock.
Yeah.
What about them?
True. Well, that's a good point. And we have a caller.
Yes. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, guys. It's Steve. How y'all doing today?
Hello,
morning,
Steve. How are
Steve.
you?
Oh, doing pretty good. Listening to your commentary this morning. A lot of things to comment on. You go through so many so fast. But I was going to say, first off, on Warnock and Herschel Walker is, from the interviews I've seen on Warnock, he didn't engage in trying to take down Walker because of all the tabloid type things that were coming out about him. When they asked Warnock about it, he just didn't engage in that, and he kind of let Herschel Walker burn himself down. But that being said, Herschel Walker almost won. So to say that this clearly is, like you say, Rayford, that's misleading at the very least. You know, it's almost a 50-50 split, which means that, you know, no one person really, their policies didn't win out. You know, it just barely scratched through.
Yeah. Well, and Warnock, as you say, I do not recall seeing him personally blasting or coming out of the closet or screaming and hollering about any things that Herschel Walker may or may not have done. However, he didn't have to. He's a preacher.
Right.
He didn't have to engage in that. There were plenty of people supporting him, the DNC with all their money, the DNC with all the individuals, all the people, he had to do it for him. Kind of like in a lot of cases, all right? Think about it.
Yeah, but you know, Warnock don't control the DNC necessarily. The DNC is above him. You know, so but anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to make that one stipulation that when he was directly asked several times about the things on Herschel Walker, he declined to comment on them. So he wasn't really trying to win on that narrative. Even though the DNC did push that narrative, and of course they would. You know, Herschel Walker is just like Trump, a dumpster fire. But at any rate, I wanted to make a point on that one. A point I wanted to make about some things he said at the end of the day yesterday, talking about attacking North Korea or trying to take out their leader. I'd be interested to hear what Robin has to say on that. He seems very educated in that area, but the first thing that pops in my mind is that Seoul, South Korea is only like 50 miles from the DMZ. That's the biggest problem. Any attack you have on North Korea or anything you do towards them is you run the risk of Seoul, South Korea being attacked. And I think there's like 2 million people in that city.
Absolutely.
And they would wipe it out.
All guns are trained. The North Vietnamese,
right.
The North Koreans.
As soon as something happens, they're going to destroy Seoul, South Korea. And that's the Achilles heel.
They have their house
already trained on it.
All along the border. They are easy access without nuclear devices, without even missiles. They have easy access to Seoul.
Right. And that's the big Achilles heel there, is that anything you try and do to them, that Seoul, South Korea is going to suffer the consequences. Okay, that being said, another thing you touched on yesterday was the people who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. You said that they weren't patriots, that they were vigilantes.
No.
And I would, or that they were anarchists, excuse me, not vigilantes, anarchists. And I would agree on part of that, but I would say some of them thought they were patriots because they were lied to and because they were misled.
I'm a female, but I ain't no female.
Well, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example right quick. You're walking down the street, you see a lady with blood coming from her head, and you ask her what's wrong, and she says, that man down there hit me and took my pocketbook. And you see the man standing there holding a pocketbook, and you go down there and you hit him in the head, you take the pocketbook, you give it back to the woman, and she says, thank you, and she walks away. Right after that, a woman comes walking out of the bathroom and says, who attacked my husband and took my pocketbook?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You thought you were doing the right thing, but because you were lied to, you got put in a position where you were taken advantage of, and you got left holding the bag. I mean,
why I would ever take the word of anybody who has made such a claim right up front without me asking questions. I might walk up, I would definitely walk up to said individual and say, listen, sir, may I have a word with you? If he takes off running, then okay, there's enough probable cause there for me to take additional action, like give chase.
Right.
But if he stands there and says, "Hey, I'm just hanging out here. I'm waiting for my wife to come out of the head, and here's her purse, here's her pocketbook." Okay, reasonable explanation. I don't hit you first. Good God, I don't even know any cops that would.
Right. But my point is that everybody might not be as intellectually mature as you are. And if you're speaking to a million people, you're going to find those intellectually immature people in that group. Yeah. And if you just like if you take a mentally unstable person and you tell them to go over there and expose themselves and they do it, it's not that mentally unstable person's fault. You're trying to make them do wrong things. It's the person trying to take advantage of them that's the real problem. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that is I kind of feel bad for some of those folks because I watched it that day and they were people that marched down there to the Capitol, and as soon as the actual riot started, there was plenty of people that were leaving. That were not going to be part of that. Yeah.
Marching to the Capitol, physical action against law enforcement, but the minute you enter that Capitol, when you were told, this is off limits, you are now a felon.
Right. And I agree with that. But there's some other factors involved in that as well. There was a point when the guards at the Capitol realized that even the people in the front of that crowd that didn't want to be there, they couldn't leave. They couldn't go back the way they came. There's too many people and the crowd's too thick. They actually opened it and tried to start funneling some of them through the Capitol and back out another exit.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, logistically, it was insane that day. Like I say, there were people that were called there that didn't want to be there.
Yeah. Logistically insane, knowing that this large group of people had gathered and having such a very small force to deal with the potential. You don't assemble a force to deal with the problem. You assemble a force to deal with the potentiality of a problem.
Right, but once again there's factors that extenuating factors there. One is that they did not have a permit to go to the Capitol. The organizers of the rally said they were not going to the Capitol, and they told the Capitol Police all along that they were not coming there. The force that day was larger than it would have been on any other given day because of the joint session of Congress. There was a tremendous amount of law enforcement there compared to a normal day. But nothing that would have been able to handle what happened. Yeah, and like I say, when you got what's supposed to be a organized protest or gathering, and they say they're not coming to the Capitol, you're not going to go above and beyond to arm the Capitol like there's a riot going to go down. I mean that's just hindsight's 20/20, but to think that they would have anticipated that is a kind of a stretch.
Maybe you would not have gone to the extra effort, but I have seen forces gather before, just in case something did break loose, and then they were sent home when nothing happened.
Once again, if you go and pull up the numbers of law enforcement that were there that day, it was quite a bit more than what would normally be there.
They were there for a joint session of Congress.
Right. But, there was a special response.
They were not there because of a threat by anybody.
But there was no threat.
There was a potential threat. Absolutely. If you've got one man calling for them to march on the Capitol, that is a potential threat to the Capitol. Right?
I understand, but the point is that they explicitly said they were not going to do that.
And I believed everything that they told me.
But that's my whole point is that everything pointed towards those people were not coming to the Capitol. The organizers told the people at the Capitol that. The Secret Service was telling everybody they weren't going to the Capitol. By the whole time, they were secretly knowing they were going to tell them to go to the Capitol. I'm sorry?
So who was in charge of telling the Capitol, or the folks there, that they would not be coming to the Capitol? They were not in charge of the group. They may have thought they were, but they were not in charge of the mob. So
they weren't in charge of the mob, but there was two people who organized that rally, and they had to pull a permit to have that rally, and their permit did not include going anywhere other than that right there where they were having the rally at.
So at which time?
And so anyway, we can argue this. I was going to say we can go back and forth all day on that. You can look it up and find out if you want to look it up. Yeah.
How far away from that rally's position where they had to permit to assemble is the Capitol?
It's a pretty good clip. I think it's about a 10 or 15 minute walk.
How long do you think it would assemble? How long do you think it would take people in Washington, D.C., a massive location, to assemble enough people to put them into place at the Capitol?
Well, once again, you got a problem there because in Washington, D.C., that's not an actual state. You don't have a governor. So the person who has to call in the National Guard is the president.
You have the
and so the person, I know, but the person who has to call the National Guard in Washington, D.C. is the president. You don't have a governor to do that. And the president was refusing to do that. So any rapid response that we would have had, and we have rapid response in Washington, believe that, is the president has to initiate it, and he didn't. But anyway, like I say, we can hash these things if you go look them up. It's all there. It's all there.
It was a case of a big screw up.
But the point I was trying to make on it was that a lot of the people that were there that day, and not trying to defend them because that was a terrible day, and what they did was terrible, but there was a lot of people there that didn't sign on for that.
But they certainly participated in it.
Well, up to a point, the amount of people that marched there versus the amount of people that went into the Capitol is very different. The only reason why I put that out there is because there's some people out there that are like, no, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. I was a patriot, and so I try and give them the benefit of the doubt that that things went too far and they turned away from it.
Point of technicality here. This is what I have to deal with. So this permit says you will assemble here. You can do this. You can do this. You can't go anywhere else, basically, once you have a permit to assemble in this location. So they became part of the problem, and they broke the law by moving out and going somewhere else. I don't care what their motives were. They broke the law. They broke the permit. The permit was violated.
Well, the people who broke the law were the ones that had a permit that was only good for that spot, and they told somebody to go to another spot to take a rally down the road. So yeah, those people violated, were part of the violation of that permit. Yeah. But I wouldn't say they directly violated the permit. They didn't pull the permit. They didn't know that the permit was only for that. That the permit didn't cover them going to the Capitol. The people who orchestrated the rally, and Trump knew that. But you couldn't necessarily think that the people were in the crowd.
It said 70 miles an hour. I didn't know that I could only drive 70. I'm driving 95.
I get what you're saying. I get they do bear some responsibility, but I wouldn't call them. I wouldn't come down on all of them as hard as I do some of them. The ones that were there playing, they were looking for the from the time they left the house.
Got it.
Okay. But anyway, I know you got commercials coming up.
Thank you, sir. You're live and local. Real
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a blessed day.
11:20 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back.
And
Okay.
we are back.
There you are.
Yeah.
Hey, Reefer, did you see the story about the gas station in Philadelphia that hired armed security guards to
Did
monitor the
not.
store in the parking lot? And they're carrying AR-15s.
I think it's
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
Yeah,
I
wearing
love
Kevlar
it.
vest. And I saw an interview yesterday with one of the guards. He says, you come in here brandishing a gun, we're going to shoot you.
But, works
I'm
for
like,
me.
I
Wow.
think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I really hate to see that because it reminds me of having visited years ago, before 9/11,
Mhm.
visiting some airports in other parts of the world, shall we say, where they've got police officers, the military, walking around with fully automatic weapons just as a matter of routine.
Right.
That, in Jerusalem, you've got armed individuals walking around with so-called assault rifles. You- I hate that we've reached this point, but it's not the good people's fault. It's the crooks, the bad people, the lowlifes out there that want to take advantage of somebody else.
Well, it's like the gas station owner said. He said, I'm tired of this nonsense, the robbery, drug trafficking, and hanging around, gangs all infiltrating his space. So he was motivated to hire armed security guards. And
I cannot fault him for it at all. I just
Nope.
hate to see that we've stooped to that level.
Mhm.
Well, he said that they had vandalized his business and recently stole the ATM out of it.
Good
Oh
God.
my Lord. You've got to be kidding me.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't
For all
know-
of that work, you should be able to be motivated enough to go get yourself a job. Stealing an
But-
ATM is not so easy.
I'm thinking,
Right.
and maybe this is just me, but I'm going to go on a limb here and say I'm pretty certain it's not easy to get one of those ATMs open. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Nope.
you would think if it was super easy, there would be more of those thefts than what there
Yeah.
are.
There have actually
I don't
been those,
Yeah.
like in kiosk or out
Mhm.
just standalones
Right.
out there where they put a
Look.
chain around it and dragged it down the street.
Well, yeah, they show
you know,
pictures.
Then what?
Yeah,
Then
she's
you
got
still got to get
pictures.
in it.
You got to do what you got to do to
These dudes look
protect your
scary. Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we don't have to get that way around here.
Ooh, I hope not.
Onslow County is a little bit different, but
Yeah.
I'd hate to see armed guards at Walmart or any of the gas stations or whatever. But I would understand it if it was mine. I probably would have them.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, I owned a business that did that for a long time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
armed security place.
That's right. We did. We didn't carry AR-15s, but I'm gonna tell you what. I had an awesome 357.
Yeah. It probably had shotgun in the trunk too.
Oh,
Well,
sure.
We got to take another break.
Yep.
Take us to.
All
right.
right.
Live and local real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back. We're back.
We are back. Looking good. Hey, coming up right after the top of the hour here in Fox News Break, we got Dr. Rose in the house. We'll be chatting with her.
Yes, we do.
Mhm.
And tomorrow,
Oh,
a couple of special guests at 7:30 tomorrow morning. Let's see,
the
Onslow
new.
County's
Yep.
brand new sheriff.
That's right.
4 days on the job.
Yep.
Tomorrow.
And he's coming to see us.
He's going to join you ladies there in the studio.
He is.
So that'll be 7:30 in the morning. That ought to be a lot of fun. We've got
Yes.
lots of questions and see how things are going because he's been working as chief deputy, the colonel there in the sheriff's office under Sheriff now retired Hans Miller. So we'll find out what his future plans are, direction of travel, and see how things are going to work out for him and the sheriff's office and the people of Onslow County. Then at 7:30, at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, joining me here in my little bunker is going to be the outgoing chairman, the county commissioner, Jack Bright, who resigned after a dozen years or more with the commission and 6 years as chairman.
Yeah.
He's resigned for personal reasons, and we'll talk to him about that. He's pretty well made it known what they are and why. So we applaud him for that, but it's not necessary. So we'll talk about a look back at how Onslow County has come and developed over the past dozen years or more, and what he sees for Onslow County in the future.
Yes. And then Friday, we have two guests coming in.
Mhm.
We have the new chairman of the Onslow County Commissioners, along with the vice chair.
There you go.
So that'll be Tim Foster and Robin Knapp. They're going to come in with us here at the studio on Friday at 7:30 and talk about the future of Onslow County. And we have questions.
So I got a question first, and maybe Kelly could answer this because it involves Robin Knapp as the vice chairman. Is he as vice chairman? That mean he's in charge of the vice that goes on,
I don't
or
know.
does he lead the vice that's going on?
Good question. Good question. Yeah.
No, he's the one that's got to take over. And when
Yeah.
Tim can't make a
Yeah.
meeting, so I'm going to be sitting on the front row that day.
Mhm.
Oh my!
Oh, yes. I'm going to harass them.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
Mhm.
No, that's good. We'll find out about that, and maybe we'll get a little insight about what they're thinking, because they're part of the executive committee, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So we'll kind of get an idea of what's going on behind the scenes, perhaps, as to what the executive committee is going to do, what their leanings are, what at least what Robin and Tim's leanings are, and how to replace Jack Bright on the commission.
Well, I have my predictions already, and I think you know what they are. In fact, we ought to just write them down and just put them on a slip of paper.
Well,
and
there are two options here that the
Yes.
executive committee can come up with, right?
That's correct.
Two ways to go. One is, which is the way they did it last time when there was an opening, right? One is to say, okay, the person in the primary, which would have been this past primary,
Right.
that led the vote of the people who did not get elected.
Right.
Okay, so in other words, the next top vote getter would be the way that they could look at it.
Right.
Or they could say, you know what? Let's just open it up to anybody, any Republican, not anybody, any Republican in Onslow County who would like to throw their hat into the ring.
That's right.
Well, that could be a problem because there may be 500 of them to do that. And there is only a very short window for the county to find a replacement. Otherwise, the great state of North Carolina will say, guess who?
Well, I will tell you in 2020, when we voted to replace William Shanahan because he won the judge seat, and we opened it up to anyone, anyone that wanted to apply for it. We just felt like at the time, that's what we voted on. And all the previous candidates in the primary that did not win a seat, they all submitted their names for consideration. And then we had a few others that came about and threw their names in there too. So
you were part of that, right?
Right.
So how much weight, let's just be honest, how much weight would you give to individuals who have not did not seek election during the last primary?
Well, I would tell you those that did that did not get many votes. Most of the
Okay.
votes, the heavy votes went towards two in particular that had one that had already served and another one that ran for it. So,
Okay.
um,
Last week, I had a conversation with a gentleman who told me, he's told us, and I think he's made it fairly well known in the past, that after he retired from the position that he held, that in 2024, he would likely seek a seat on the county commission. That was Sheriff Hans Miller at the
Right.
time. He reiterated that to me this past Friday that he would like to be considered for that open position right now.
now,
Now,
see, yeah,
he did not run in the previous primary, obviously, because he was the sheriff.
that's
Could not run.
correct.
Right.
So, what do you do then?
Well, my prediction, based on things that I know, my prediction is I think the executive committee is going to be swayed to open it up to the general public.
Okay.
And my prediction is if Hans Miller throws his name in there, that he will probably be out everybody else because the executive committee has got a lot of newer people in there. And they don't know a lot of the people that have been involved in the Republican Party, but they know Hans because he's been the sheriff for the last 8
absolutely.
years. So that's my prediction. I predict they're going to open it up. Hans is going to throw his name in there, and everybody else I think Hans will get it. I really do.
Well,
You got that one written down. I like that.
I've got
there's
that
a
one
lot
written
of
down.
there's some people that don't want that to happen because
Right.
of Hans being the father-in-law of Tim Foster.
That's right.
And I've heard quite a few people say they did not want that to be the case. I mean, I get it because there's perception and it starts to look like a monopoly.
But this
So-
is the issue. Those people that have already voiced their concerns over that, they aren't on the executive committee.
True.
It's up
Now-
to like 60 people to make the decision.
I'm going to tell you who I would like to see throw their name in the hat, and I know they have actually contemplated it. Lisa Brown.
I can't do it.
Not you, Lisa Brown.
I would. Yeah, I think Lisa Brown
I
would make
think
an
she would be
outstanding commissioner.
absolutely excellent, and I would love to see her officially throw her name in there. And I think she'd have a good chance of getting it too.
Yeah, you
I
just
think right
never
now,
know.
if she just heard that, she's probably going to say, I'm going to beat you up, Kelly.
No, I've known her for over 20-something years, so
Yes.
it's all good.
Lisa's
She'd
great.
She'd make a good one.
She
would
did a
make
fantastic
excellent
job as
commissioner.
clerk of court.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I
Fox
learned
News
something
break.
new.
Let's take our break.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
crap,
Fox
it's
News
time
break
for
now.
break.
Don't go away. We'll be back in about 60 seconds, and Dr. Rosemary Stein will be joining us.
Yep.
Don't go
All
away.
right. I'll say that.
We're back.
Yeah, I like being back.
Yeah. We have a
Yes.
couple minutes before Dr. Rose calls
We're glad
in.
you're back too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, remember President Obama and his Attorney General Eric Holder and that thing called
Yes.
Fast and Furious, a gun running scheme
Forgotten
they
that
had
till
going
you
on
said
about
it.
10 years ago?
Yeah. Now that you bring that back up, absolutely do I remember that. Yeah.
Here's what
Yeah.
was going on. Federal agents told local gun stores, mostly in the Southwest, that they should illegally sell guns to so-called straw purchasers in order to make a splash showcasing how their investigation uncovered the illegal sales of those guns. Duh. Problem is that the ATF and DOJ failed to keep up with the 2,000 guns or so, and a bunch ended up in the hands of drug cartels in Mexico. A lot of the guns have since been recovered, but not all, and they've been stored in an ATF rented facility in West Virginia. Now the drama continues. Security, according to an inspector general looking at that facility, pitiful. A lot of the guns and gun parts have been stolen from that storage facility.
Oh.
What
Oh my.
a boondoggle. Now the government has ordered ATF to destroy the remaining guns and gun parts.
Wow.
As always, our left-leaning elements of the government
Oh,
are
my.
blaming guns for the problems, where it should first blame the whole Obama holder conspirators for the original problem, and ATF for the lax security of the evidence. This is evidence they want to destroy. What happens if they destroy evidence? I'm going to tell you what. If this happened at a local police department or a sheriff's office, heads would roll,
Don't
cases
you
would
know
be
it?
appealed, and likely crooks would be freed because of a lack of evidence.
And here comes the
Okay.
State Bureau of Investigation to
Oh
tear
my
your office
God.
apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you should.
Yeah. Now, Rayford, we have Dr. Rose on the line, so we'll get back to this as soon as we're done with her. But good morning, Dr. Rose.
Good morning.
Where? Are you
Dr.
there?
Rose, are you there?
All right. Dr. Rose, are you there?
Sounds like we got disconnected.
Okay, hold on.
She'll go back.
I don't know what happened.
Yep.
Okay, let's see.
Probably here to be talking too much. Decided it was too hot to get involved in it.
Let's see.
Do, 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 do,
Yeah,
do,
I
do.
know.
Well,
Come on,
she'll
Dr.
call
Rose.
back.
Yeah.
Anybody
There she
watching
goes.
Jeopardy?
No, here's
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Rose, you there now? Hello?
Yeah, let's try the other line.
Dr. Rose, you there?
Yes, I
Oh,
am.
there we are.
There you
Okay,
go.
Yeah. Finally. Okay, that was I don't know what happened here, but
Yes,
Yeah.
I was on the line and it was like it went dark.
yeah, I don't know what happened. That's weird.
It's because Rayford
Yeah.
was talking.
Yeah.
You hit a button, didn't you, Rayford?
I'm not even there.
Yeah. So how are you?
We're doing well. We're doing very well, very busy. We thought that the flu would decrease in its numbers, but it did not. It took us by surprise yesterday. The morning started and the phones were not too busy, and there was fortunately we got all the little ones seen that needed to be seen. Whew, that was a rough day. We came home exhausted.
Oh, my
Oh
goodness.
wow. I do have a question for you. So it has been brought to my
Absolutely.
attention by some people that there appears to be an Adderall shortage. So those with ADHD are having difficulty getting their medicine. Are you experiencing that up there?
Not yet, but usually you guys tell me of the things that are
Yeah.
about to happen to us.
I
So
know-
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I know. I've had some people down here that have ADHD and they've had difficulty getting their medicine, and the local pharmacists here are blaming it on,
Saw
believe it
that.
or not, they're saying like celebrities and stuff are trying to use Adderall for weight loss, so they're creating this shortage. But back home in Rockingham County, I've got some friends with kids and some adult friends as well that take Adderall, and they're having the same issue in Rockingham County. So, yeah, as we're
That's
having
really
here.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you the medications in the last 2 months that have been in shortage.
Okay.
Tamiflu,
Oh, wow.
albuterol for asthma,
Wow.
I've heard the albuterol.
amoxicillin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other antibiotics, something called Omnicef or Cefnidir.
Okay. Yeah. that is.
I mean, these are just basic medications. There are a whole bunch more. I could keep on, but these are our basic pediatric and even just everyday family practice medications for kids and adults who get sick. We can't find them sometimes. They get to the pharmacy and the pharmacist says, "Well, we don't know when it'll be back in stock." Now, I don't know how to remedy that problem, but it is terrible because these are completely basic meds that if a patient needs it, he just needs it. You can't, the parent can't go around to 5 or 6 different pharmacies trying to find this medication and for everybody to tell them, "Oh, well, it's not in stock, so you'll have to wait a week or 2. That's unacceptable.
Well, especially with something like albuterol, which is, asthma can be life threatening. Like So what are people doing? Are they getting prescribed something different? Like what's happening? Because I have
What?
asthma, so that makes me. Actually take levalbuterol, because I can't handle the shaking of the regular albuterol. But that makes me nervous that I wouldn't be able to get my levalbuterol.
Well, let me
I
ask you
think that it's
this.
yeah, and I think it's a good idea to call your pharmacy to see if they have present current shortages, so that you know if you have to refill your medicine, so you have it in stock.
I'm going to do that today.
Well, Kelly, if you were not able to get that, wouldn't you risk some type of withdrawal symptoms from
No,
that?
because I only take my levalbuterol when my lungs
Oh, I
and
see.
my stuff
Yes.
with my autoimmune seems to go in spurts. Knock on wood. But some people that have, I don't have severe asthma, thank goodness. I don't want severe asthma. But some people have. I have a client with very severe asthma. That makes me nervous that they may not get their medicine.
Yeah,
That
is
makes me
bad.
very nervous. It's scary.
And I don't know which areas of the state or even the country have these shortages. I'm aware of what we have had, and
Here,
so what
there's
I've done,
albuterol. Yeah.
and so what I've done is to uh, for our patients that have the nebulizer machine,
Yeah.
I've tried to be creative, and if a certain type is on back order, like the 1.25, then I try to I order the 2.5 and have the parent measure the amount that goes into the machine, or the 0.635, half of the 1.25, and put two of them together. But it's still a waste. And it just jumps around from which one is the one that now is on back order. And I've never seen 30 years practicing medicine. I have never seen that, especially for basic medicine.
So this is scary to me, and with no reasoning as to why. I mean, I guess with the albuterol, I can see with all the increase in respiratory illnesses this year, I guess I could see that. But it's still scary. You mean Ceftonir? I had to take that last year when I had diverticulitis, along with like 10 other medicines.
Kelly,
But,
have you tried online, just out of curiosity, because I'm being very suspicious here. Have you looked at online possibilities?
What do you mean, to get medicine?
Yeah, to get your medicine, especially
but-
the stuff that you can't get locally.
It's a good question. No, but I don't even know where I would go online to try.
You can always go to
look
the
for it.
street corner.
Oh,
Those are called drugs. Those are drugs, not medicine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's nobody on the street corner giving away albuterol, but maybe they are. I don't know.
If there's a need for it, I'm
Yeah.
sure they're going to be selling it.
well, what I'm thinking, and I'm being a very suspicious individual, because I know a lot of retail products that is very difficult to find in a retail store because they just can't get it right now. But you can go online and find plenty of it. So I'm just wondering if the same thing applies to drugs.
I don't know.
It's a good
I
question.
think that if you have they do have online pharmacies, and if you have a prescription and you can download it, they will fill that. So I mean that's a good point, and some of our more savvy insurance patients do that. Now, if you have Medicaid or certain government types of insurances, I don't know that you are allowed to do it, but I do know that there are a lot of regular insurances that do accept that.
It's just an interesting experiment, if nothing else, Kelly, for you.
I'm gonna try that and see what happens.
So, because if the online pharmacies have got plenty of this stuff, then there's something amiss somewhere else down the line.
You would think.
Yeah.
And while we're at it, I'm going to put a little plug in for your little hometown pharmacies. Those are the people that you really want to use and be familiar with, because when there are shortages, they will do whatever they can around for the medication, and that they're loyal to you because you're loyal to them.
Yes.
Or those bigger pharmacies, you're just one more number. You're not a face. You're not somebody they know. So that your hometown pharmacy, if you have one, we have 2 or 3 in Alamance County that I'm very familiar with, and they are fabulous. They'll let me know right away there are shortages in this and this. I cannot get it until this day, or it's indefinite, but we can do this. They will help for me to have options, and if there are no options, they let me know.
In my pharmacy, there are, I think, 3 of them in Onslow County of the same group. and just scattered in, but they're hometown. And if
Very
mine's the
nice.
one that's in my particular refill on everything that I do, but they will find it at one of their other locations and have it sent over. So that's always a good option too.
Yes, and this time of big business and big industry, it's nice to be able to be patrons of smaller businesses, and these small town pharmacies are really very helpful to people, folks like you and I.
Yeah, they actually talk to me if I have a question.
That's right, and they actually have the answers. Where if you go to the bigger pharmacies, they may not know the answers because they're just there to fill the prescriptions and to make money for the
Sure.
business.
All right, sounds good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of prescriptions, I just had my morning dose brought to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them I got to take.
You're the bionic man now.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm working on it anyway. So anyway, hopefully this stuff will go away shortly.
One day at a time, but you're
Yeah.
doing remarkably well.
Yeah, I'm hanging in.
Yes, that's right, Mr. Rayford. You've done remarkably well. We count our blessings, and you're one of them.
Thank you, ma'am. I
Yes.
appreciate that. Okay, Doc, thank you. We'll see you next week.
I'll talk to you next week. Always a pleasure.
Always a
Same here,
pleasure
as
with
always.
us.
All right, have a good day.
All right, Kel,
Yeah,
we're going to take a little break here, do a little bit of weather,
Do it.
Yes.
come back, and you know, we haven't talked. I heard a little bit about it, of course, this morning and last night, but about Trump's problems and the Trump organization. They've been found guilty.
They have.
And is that a sign of what's coming up for the future, for the next couple of years, for this guy who wants to be president again? Or is this just a bunch of political shenanigans? We'll talk about that after weather when we come back. You're live in local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSME. You know that speaking of local businesses and the small town shops like the pharmacies and the retail stores and all that sort of good stuff, it reminds me of Tideline Marine. It's a family-owned, veteran-owned, and operated business right here in Jacksonville. It's been in business for over a half century. George and Elise Papistrat bought the business about 3 years ago. They just celebrated their third anniversary. They have been running some specials, but you know they've been in business and they want to serve you. They'll go to all ends of the earth to meet you, to find out what you need. If it's not in stock, guess what? They'll find it. They service all sorts of motors, Mercury's, Mercruisers, Yamahas, Evinrude's and Johnson's. And yes, Evinrude and Johnson are both out of business, but their parts are still available. And a big chunk of the business there, repair business at Tideline Marine, are parts for Evinrude's. I know that for a fact because I've got 4 of them, 4 Evinrude's on 3 different boats. And they're going to be around for quite a while. Plenty of time for me to take advantage of that. But Tideline Marine, they're there. They offer specials right now. They got all sorts of specials on fishing tackle and trinkets for your tree. All sorts of cool little Christmas items and items that you can take. I mentioned it the other day, and somebody said, you know, that's a really good idea. If you get invited to a Christmas party, a lot of people, they feel a need and to take a little gift with them of some sort. What better gift than at Christmas time taking a trinket that they can actually use on their tree this year? It's not something they get to put away for next year. It's not like giving to them for a Christmas gift that they can't use until next year. They can take it and put it on their tree immediately. What a great idea. So if they got a fishing interest or a boating interest, chances are Tideline Marine has got something that you can pick out. Okay, that's Tideline Marine, located at 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville.
And we have a small craft advisory in effect today through the weekend. Today, west winds 5 to 10 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet, dominant period 7 seconds, with patchy fog late this morning and into this afternoon. Tonight, southwest winds 5 to 10 knots, becoming west 10 to 15 knots after midnight, seas 3 to 5 feet. Thursday, north winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming 15 to 20 knots, with gusts up to 25 knots in the afternoon, seas 4 to 6 feet. And Friday, northeast winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet.
Today, partly sunny, high of 74. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 61. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high of 68. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy, low of 49. Then Friday in the afternoon, it looks like it's going to rain. It'll be high of 56 on Friday, and a little bit of rain Friday evening with the low of 46. But then the weekend is sunny, so it's good.
You know,
Good weather.
we are in a drought situation in a lot of the southeastern part of the country, including North Carolina. Nearly as much rain as we kind of need to keep the water table up. So any little rain helps, but you know, there's something going to have to give before the springtime to deal with this drought.
But that's so weird to me because, you know, back in June, we had a lot of rain.
We did,
So
localized,
flooded
very
out
localized.
killed a lot of my vegetables. And so, yeah, that's weird, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So anyway, we did not get a lot of rain during the
No,
fall. We didn't have any
we did
major
not.
storms to bring a lot of rain like we did a few years
Yeah.
ago with Florence. So, you know, so we're down. Our water table is down a little bit.
Hey, Rayford,
Definitely.
I got a real quick story before you get into your Trump stuff. 'Cause
Shoot.
I know that'll get us
Yeah.
off on a tangent. So last night, the Onslow County Board of Education met, and some parents showed up at the meeting, and they are concerned about the recent, you know, incidents in schools. With last Friday they had a loaded gun at White Oak, High School, and a student was taken into custody. And earlier this year, we had a tragic stabbing at Northside that resulted in a death. So the parents want metal detectors to be placed in schools here in Onslow County. And some parents got up and spoke.
You know, how many students are at, let me just take one school in White Oak. Any idea how many students are there?
I think close to 1,000.
How many students at Jacksonville High,
Over
and
1,200.
North Side?
Yeah. No, Jacksonville's over 1,200.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You detectors are you talking about putting in?
I don't know. I think they would be easier to install in a school like north side than at Jacksonville. But I mean, I get it. And the school board has said that, they are looking at the suggestion. So other
Well,
schools have it. I mean,
You know,
Wilmington
I
has
would
it. and Charlotte.
strongly recommend that if we have concerns over security,
Mhm.
it's been offered. I mean, the former chairman of the Onslow Board of Education,
Mhm.
Bob Williams, he suggested it. We've had an outsider, a gentleman who's worked security. He lives in the county, Jim Reifinger.
Mhm.
He's offered his services. There are any number of people who have offered suggestions about things that could be done. I know that now, well, Sheriff Miller and the Chief Yanero from Jacksonville PD, I know that Sheriff Thomas, they all have concerns about the schools and school safety.
Mhm.
We all do.
Mhm.
You cannot be impractical. How long would it take to run 1,200 kids through a single metal detector?
Long time.
Imagine, you know how long it takes to load up an airplane with 120 people on it, running them one at a time through a metal detector?
I think you probably have to have multiple metal detectors.
And
Yeah.
that means you're going to have multiple guards,
Mhm.
security personnel
Yeah.
at the locations. And every time this metal detector goes off, you're going to have to pull a person aside and search them, either with other metal detectors or do physical searches of the bags of the this and the that. I, I don't know
Mhm.
what the practicalities are. Somebody's going to have to explain that to me. Yes, in large school systems, LA, New York, or wherever,
Charlotte has them, and they even have them in Wilmington.
Look, just the cost of them. I'm looking at the cost of them right now. Start about $4,800 per detector.
Yeah, but
that's
I think
that's cheap.
Yeah. But I mean,
In Wilmington, where do they have them in
I
Wilmington?
was told. Hold on, I can tell you.
Hey, you can get them on Amazon.
Yeah.
Great.
I can't totally unbelieve
Trust your life to Amazon.
Amazon is like Sears anymore.
Mhm.
I know Charlotte has them.
Hey, here's one
Okay.
at $3,000 at Amazon.
I can buy anything at any price you want to
Good
buy, whether it
Lord.
works or not, doesn't matter.
That's crazy.
I mean, we're gonna have to do something.
We got to
Okay.
do something, and I don't know what the something is. Was this gun in a backpack last week?
It was a backpack. Yes.
So it wasn't not a clear backpack, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Plastic back or no
Yes.
backpacks at all,
Yes.
or
But then all somebody's gonna do is put it in their waistband. But I hear what you're saying.
in a waistband, they can get wanded as they go through.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm
Wands
all
are
about
a
that.
lot
Yeah,
cheaper,
I agree.
and every resource officer can have one at his or her disposal, can use them instantly on anybody. If you're going to go to school here, you're subject to be wanded at any time. The other thing I would be doing is I would be doing a whole lot of locker searches. Those lockers do not belong to any student. They belong to the school system.
I wonder if they still do those.
Well,
I don't know.
Back in, so for example, 7 high schools in Charlotte have metal detectors. Let me see. I'm keep looking. But in Winston-Salem, back in March of this year, the district was awarded $322,000 from DPI's school safety to get metal detectors. So
Getting the metal detectors is going to be the cheapest
Yeah.
part of the whole process. You've got to have people to man them.
Yep.
You're going to have, and that doesn't mean one person there, just 2 people standing at the Onslow County Courthouse. Lord, good God, trying to get through there. And, you get people that come through with bracelets on, buckles on, watches on, rings that are on, necklaces. I mean, ladies wear some stuff that, will set off a metal detector 30 miles away.
What are you trying to say?
Facts. But, and some of the guys do the same thing. But we got to be secure, but we got to be practical. These kids have got to get into school to learn. Then at lunchtime, you leave the building. You go out, somebody standing on the edge of the campus, they slip you something, you walk back in, do they wand you? Do they run you through the security system again? Every time you leave the building, Jacksonville High's got multiple buildings.
Yeah.
You're going to put a metal detector in every building.
I know. It's going to be a challenge.
It is going to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
With any luck at all future buildings will be built in accordance with safety precautions and
Yeah.
security first.
I'm really
well.
surprised that the county hasn't tried to rebuild a high school and relocate Jacksonville High to that new building in a more secure building versus the open campus that it is now. That's surprising to me.
What kind of expense would that be?
And it'll be
How
a
many-
huge one. I'm
$1
just
billion?
making a statement. Oh, probably more than that. But then the question you'd have to say, can you put a price on safety?
Well, yes, you can. How much can you afford?
Yeah.
How much can you afford at your home? That's putting a price on safety.
We
Not
have a
everybody can afford Ring doorbells all over the place.
Mhm.
They can't afford, a big bolted doors so people can't get into. They can't afford a moat
True.
around the house
Yep.
with alligators in it. I mean, there are certain things that, how much can you afford? And yes, you can put a price on safety.
We have-
Unfortunately, realistically, you have to.
We have a caller. Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Hey, good morning. This is Curtis. How y'all doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. I've been able to listen to this debate about the security in the schools for off and on for the past few months. I probably haven't heard each one of them, but I've heard a lot of them. And I get it. There's definitely a concern, and I'm a parent too. And when my daughter was going to school, I was deeply concerned about her security first and foremost. But bringing metal detectors in, schools have multiple entrances. The only way to make it work would be to fortify the schools with barriers, which would probably be fences, and then you would have parents complaining that their kids are going to prison instead of going to school. Okay, so it's a no-win situation. I mean, I don't know, Rayford, I don't know how you feel about that, but yeah, I mean, it's a touchy subject either way.
Curtis, the optics would be awful for something like that.
Yeah.
For the kids, I don't know psychologically how they would feel. That'll be a Kelly question. But you're right. It would feel like you're in prison. Would you feel safer? Yeah, probably, perhaps. But in prisons, they're not safe either from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know in big cities, they have schools within inner cities, and they're containable. They're like in major city street blocks and stuff, and they do have barriers at those schools and stuff. But we're talking about Onslow County, Eastern North Carolina. Hey, I got it, Kelly. Anything can happen anywhere at any time, but you were comparing rural areas to big cities, all corporate areas,
Kelly, I saw the story last week, but refresh me. Did they get a tip about this gun, or did they discover it?
They got a tip.
Yes.
Okay. See, that is part of the one of the greatest things in the world we could try to instill upon the other kids in school. If you know something, say something.
Well, what happened
it could be you or your brother, your sister, your friends, or your whatever that gets hurt if you keep your mouth shut.
Well, the tip wasn't about the gun. The resource officers at White Oak conducted a search because they received a drug complaint against the student. Yeah, and he had a loaded Rossi 38 special revolver.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was carrying the gun with him for whatever reason, but he got a tip about drugs.
Has anyone followed up? Where did he get the gun?
No, he was charged with felony possession. Though.
I understand, but
Yeah.
didn't nobody follow up to? I'm assuming that
They
the
have to
sheriff's
say.
office is following up to find out how he got hold of that gun, whether the gun was stolen, whether his parents had it, did not have it secured as required.
I don't know. Just
I wonder if there is a mechanism in place with the school systems where at the beginning of the year, facilitate that. You know, you got organizations like Crime Stoppers and stuff. If you see something, say something. You know, when I drove a school bus for the county, a lot of the older school buses had bumper stickers affixed to the front of the interior of the bus, you know, to advertise Crime Stoppers. But a lot of the newer buses, they don't have that, you know, and it's just, I mean, that's just a visual aid that if a student, you know, maybe they might look at the sticker and say, oh, well, I know something's going on. You know, you don't never know. Any form of mechanism could be in place to stop a incident from occurring, or to allow a student to understand that, you know, they can speak, you know. Anyway, that's
You know,
that's
I
the
would.
world. Yeah.
Curtis, I'm going to go on a limb here, as I do quite often. I'm going to say that probably, if not always, somebody in every mass shooting in a school system felt that something was wrong with individual or individuals who ended up doing what was done. Virtually every time somebody comes forward after the fact and says, oh God, I wish I had said something beforehand, because yes, I've seen him with this and this and this. He's made these statements. Oh, look on social media what he's posted. He's going to go in and shoot up a school. They always bring it up after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks for
Thank
calling
you,
in.
Curtis. Appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in.
Rayford, I have a trivia question for you.
7.
In what year was Jacksonville High School built and opened?
1960, let's say, when it opened as a high school. It opened, the first year it was opened, it opened as a junior high, by the way, because I was there that year in the 8th grade or 9th grade, whatever it was then.
1525.
Do what?
I said
1941. Says
No.
the school building was constructed in 1941 and opened as Jacksonville Senior High. Now I wonder if they're talking about the one on New Bridge Street.
The New Bridge Street School.
Yeah. Well, this is the history of Jacksonville High School.
Okay. No. Well, that was may have been the first Jacksonville High School, which I would have reason to doubt it. There should have been one before that. But
just trying to trip you up.
The existing Jacksonville High School was built about 1960. It opened in 61 or 62 as the junior high for the first year. And then the next year it became the high school.
Right. I knew that. But yeah, this one, it was, so they must be talking about the one on New Bridge Street. 1941 now. Oof.
Yeah.
All right, Rayford, we have a caller, but we need to go ahead and take a break because it's Steve. So I know we'll miss the break otherwise. So Steve, you hold on. And we're live in Local Real Talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back. All right, we've got Steve on the line. Steve's is here.
Hey guys,
Hey, what's up?
I got hate to be a double caller, but wanted to ring back in right quick. First one is technical support. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but when your callers call in, their volume is like way louder than y'all's is.
Well, we know.
And okay, I was gonna say it makes the speakers rattle on my TV. I have to grab the remote real quick and turn it down.
Yeah, we've
But
got
it makes it difficult to hear y'all. I got you.
We haven't been able to fix it yet, but we're
And been able to balance that out yet. I would say there's a phenomenon I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but your voice should be the loudest thing you hear in the mix because you're also hearing the volume of your voice in the room.
Yeah, no, it's we had somebody come in here to the studio and mess with the knobs.
Yeah.
When we
Here's the situation, Steve. You'll understand it. We have an output on the board. The output is adjustable, and we do not have any control. We cannot hear the output of the board. We try, but we don't have any way to monitor the output of the board.
Yeah.
And some of the inputs on the board, they keep getting fiddled with by little hands somewhere or another.
Yeah.
And they change levels, and then we have to go through and spend an inordinate amount of time trying to redo it. I had to do some yesterday.
Well, we're gonna correct it. It's in the next week or two. It'll be addressed.
I got you.
Yeah, we have a.
I would think there's a headphone out or a control room out on that board that you could plug a set of headphones in that you could just use as a reference, like you could put them on and hear what the volumes are and put it back down.
We got a plan.
But
we got a plan.
I got you. Anyway, that was my technical sports side. The next thing I want to talk about was the metal detectors. How long is it going to take for somebody to figure out that you can buy a ceramic knife at Walmart in the kitchen section?
Yeah, it's true. They've got some.
So then you're going to have X-ray machines. You know, I mean, we need to do something. It's just that, like Raper said, practicality. You know, I mean, you really got to think these things through. You know,
Right.
And I'm sure Charlotte school system has a lot more money to spend than Onslow County systems do. But final thing I want to throw out there right quick, so I don't take up too much of your time. I know it's almost over. Is we talked about Trump, and everybody seems to be on the page that they don't think he's going to win the Republican nomination, and that he's going to maybe run as an independent, but he's not going to win. And the thing I want to put out there is I try and think like as many moves as my little brain can handle ahead. What do you think he's going to do when he loses? What's going to happen?
When he loses, overall?
When he loses, do you think he's just going to ride off in the sunset and it's going to be over? Or is the problem going to continue? Or we're going to have another January 6th?
The saga will continue. I don't think there will be another January 6th. He will be out there.
I hope not. But we forever underestimate Trump's ability to do bad.
He will continue doing what Trump does best, and that's running his mouth, and fewer people are going to be paying attention to him.
Yeah, I tell you, the Republican Party is a lose-lose, no matter if he's the nominee or if he's not. They ought to just go ahead and get enough Republicans in the Senate to just bar him from office, and they're done with it, and rip the Band-Aid off and take whatever political repercussions come from that, and then he's just done. But that's my point. That's my opinion anyway. Okay. Other than that, y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I appreciate it. Bye.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't. Trump doesn't strike me as a type that will just go away quietly.
He's not.
I think he's a victim of his own ego, for one thing. So I don't know. I don't know what would happen.
A two-time loser is when you lose two times in a row.
Yeah.
Then that's a fairly significant loss.
Correct.
Even to a man like Trump.
That should be a clue.
That I think will probably just say, you know what, I don't need that. He will never accept responsibility. You got to understand that.
No,
it's way beneath him to accept responsibility. And he's going to say, the people are so stupid. I mean, I can say the same thing because she got elected. But the people are so stupid that this is what they did. They do not want me. They don't understand. I'm the greatest. I am the greatest. Muhammad Ali said the same thing. The difference is Muhammad Ali had some butt to put up and show that he was.
Well, he flew like a butterfly and stung like a bee.
Well, Rayford, we have the same thing right here in Onslow County. I've seen people that have lost 2 or 3 times and they still want to run again.
Oh, good
Yeah,
point.
and
Yeah,
you know,
true.
that's
Yes.
all well and good. Yeah, the more you lose, and just the way it works.
Somewhere along the line, you might start thinking about why you're losing.
I just
Either
would
that
like,
or change your tactics because
That's
the
right.
others ain't working.
yeah, change your
Change your
tactics.
platform. Change who you associate with.
That's
Let
a
me tell you
big
what:
deal.
birds of a
Yes.
feather flock together. And
Yes.
That's right.
when you are hanging out with the crows,
Yeah.
the buzzards,
Yes.
guess what you become?
Well,
Sitting right next
when
to him
you're
on the
like Trump
fence.
hanging out with the white supremacists and all the other
You
haters out
cannot
there.
do that.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, does that either you are trying to be incredibly open-minded, or that's really how you think?
Yeah.
So I
Or
don't
you
like
think,
the
or
Proud
you think,
Boys. I don't
or
like those white supremacists. I don't like that Fuentes guy at all. I'm saying it here on the radio, people. So if you want to unfriend me, unfriend me. Don't really care. There's no room in America for racism, is my opinion.
No.
And
no,
I'm
none at
here
all.
to tell you, even here locally, we got a lot of racist people.
We do
So seen it
scum buckets,
firsthand.
scum buckets.
So, and some of them don't know that I know what they've said, but I know.
All right, real quick,
Yeah.
like as I expected,
Mhm.
I know we got to get to a break. Ex-President Donald Trump is calling foul and has labeled the tax fraud investigation
Of
into his
course.
companies nothing more than a witch hunt.
Of
Two
course.
companies with the Trump organization found guilty yesterday on multiple charges of criminal tax fraud in a case brought by the Manhattan District Attorney. The verdict was rendered after a jury heard a lot of evidence about irregularities and found the two companies had indeed falsified business records and conspired to keep from paying taxes on perks ranging from luxury cars to free accommodations. The charges allege that top executives were the ones benefiting from those perks, but the Trump organization was complicit in the cover up. Hello. Trump's folks face possible fines approaching $2 million. That's the Trump people. Trump himself was not on trial. Prosecutors said that he knew exactly what was going on with the scheme, though he and the company's lawyers have denied that. A top financial officer admitted doctoring the books, including those that showed he earned less money than he actually earned. He's going to receive a reduced 5-month sentence in jail in exchange for his testimony. I have problems with that. The ex-president recently announced that he would run in the Republican primary for president next year, no, 2024. He said that is the reason that the Democrats went after his businesses on what he called false allegations. I'm telling you what, he's got every bit of ammunition in the world to look at them and say, yeah, this is nothing but a witch hunt, because that's kind of what it looks like in so many cases. The facts bear out something else. The facts show that Trump and the organization have issues from the top down. I will go on another limb. I will dare say that a lot of the big organizations in this country who offer perks have the same problems.
Yes. Good point. Good points. Yeah.
Not that they shouldn't go after Trump for doing it, but because they should, or anybody else they catch. But
They're going
whatever.
to keep going after him over and over
Yep.
and over again. He's already thrown his hat in the ring, so it's just going to heat up now.
Yep, it is. So anyway, the best thing he could do is back away from all of this and save the country a lot of grief, and let two very strong individuals, one Republican and one Democrat, duke it out.
I have to
Let the
agree.
better person win.
I agree 100%.
Mhm.
You know, right now they're watching him. They'll get him for jaywalking. I mean, they're going to do everything they can.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's just going to make him look good in the eyes of so many of his followers.
In his eyes, in the eyes, yeah, those, yes.
So many of his followers will say, "Look at what they're doing to the man now. They're beating him up for no
Yeah.
reason." It's this guy over here. He's doing the same thing. Did they go after him? No. He must be friends with the DA.
Hmm.
That's the way people think. So anyway, you
All
better
right,
take a break.
Take a break. Take
You're
a
live and
short-
local, Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. Final thoughts when we come back. You know, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
I'm
too.
hungry now. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about something for maybe Friday evening. I can talk my wife into it, and like I'll have to twist her arm, I'm sure. I want to go to Swansboro. I
Oh,
want to go to
my.
the borough. I have not had a time to get out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
To get
Steve's
amongst
playing there
people.
that night too.
Yep.
Didn't he tell us that?
Yeah,
I
he
think
is.
he did say he
But
was.
I go
yes.
early. I go about 5
Yeah,
o'clock.
Rayford goes early. Yeah.
I think
Oh,
he
yeah.
starts at 6.
It does.
Mhm.
I might still be there eating dessert
Yeah.
or something. But anyway, I'm thinking seriously, Randy. I'm gonna go in there and tell my wife, mate. She may be listening in another room. I think Friday is my day out. I get to come out party. What do you think?
Mhm. Hey,
Oh,
get some good food there. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
a coming out party?
Everybody's gonna see the beard that I've been growing for the past month.
Oh.
Somehow I doubt that, Rayford. I doubt you have a beard.
No, wait a minute. We just saw him yesterday on Skype. He
don't
didn't have
no
a beard.
No.
No, you didn't see me on Skype yesterday. I didn't have
Well,
a
day
camera on.
before, you didn't grow it that fast.
No.
Who knows?
Mm-mm. You're not a werewolf.
No, I'm not. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, but I think that would be good. And gotta first of all, they're delicious.
Mhm.
But I gotta patronize the people who also advertise with us. I'll tell you someplace else. If you ever want some really good fried chicken, get on out there, Gum Branch Road, Chappie's. Holy
Chappie's?
moly! I took some on a boat last year for a fishing tournament, and some of these old salts that I had on the boat at that time. Boy looked at me and he says, "Where'd you get that chicken?" And I told him. He said, "That's the best chicken I've ever had in my life."
What was the name of it?
Chappie's out there. It's the Great Gas Company. They've got the Whizmarts.
Yes.
There's Whizmart out there on Gum Branch Road.
Right.
You go in there and get yourself some of that chicken.
I didn't know they had
They
chicken.
got some
there.
ribs too. I've forgotten the ribs
Oh,
there. Oh
gosh.
my goodness
I'm
gracious.
going to IHOP when I leave here.
Oh my.
So, anywho,
I'm so hungry.
our advertisers are very important to us. And if you'd like to become one of them, give Lee a call. She can handle
Yes.
that, get you set up.
Yeah.
We got some. Well, I think we got some great stuff going on now. And with what I'm thinking, after I meet with Trevor over at the Jacksonville Daily News, we're going to have a little sit down. Want to work on a something that we can share some resources, and things will get even bigger and better for us, all of us. We will be in this as a community operation together. Because I really sadly miss our daily newspaper.
Yes.
Newspaper. I don't really care about what's going on in other parts of the world. I got that on the internet. I want to know what's going on in my hometown. Period.
Right.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
anyway.
Nice.
So much for that.
Yeah.
We'll be getting together with him.
Yeah.
I guess it's that time, isn't
It
it?
is.
Yes, it is.
So tomorrow morning, do not forget.
Yes.
We got at 7:30 in the studio, chatting with the young ladies and with me, the new sheriff. The new sheriff of
We got a
Onslow
new
County.
sheriff in
He's a
town.
sheriff, SHUR. Chris Thomas, a veteran lawman. I've known him for 30 plus years. And the man has been around. He's got credentials up the yin yang. Good guy all the way around. And at 8 o'clock, join me in my bunker over here.
Yep.
We got Jack Bright. I've also known him for
Yes.
about 30 years. Well,
Correct.
actually, more than that.
Yeah.
I've known him. So I was there when he was sworn in as a police officer, full-time police officer. He had been a reserve officer. But when he took the oath of office as a full-time officer, I was sitting right there in the 1970s at the Jacksonville PD. And I've known him ever since. He's now resigned from the Onslow County Board of Commissioners, and he was a member of that board on 2 different occasions for a dozen years or more. And he was chairman of the board for 6 years. So he's going to join me here in the bunker tomorrow, talk about things in the past, how things have progressed here in Onslow County, and what he expects to happen in the future of Onslow County. How's that?
Good.
Yeah. I'm anxious for that.
Coming up next, Fox News at 10 o'clock, Rick Dees with a dose of the Daily Dees. And at 3 o'clock, a dose of Hollywood will join us in the house at 3 o'clock this afternoon. You're live and local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME.